So, okay, this is going to sound super weird, but I have slime girls living inside me. Not like parasitic alien monster slime girls or anything scary like that. They're more like magical, squishy roommates. It all started 3 months ago. I was walking home from school, kinda bored when I found this weird marble on the edge of the park trail. It was green and glowing a little. Not like radioactive green, more like alien candy, neon green. Naturally, because I'm such a genius, I thought, I bet this tastes like apple. And I popped it in my mouth. I swallowed it whole. It had absolutely no flavor. Just this cold, slippery gulp. I remember coughing once and then forgetting all about it. Until that night. I was lying in bed, about to pass out for the night, when my stomach made the loudest gurgle sound I've ever heard. Like earthquake of the guts loud. I sat up, grabbing my belly, and I ran to the bathroom and leaned over the sink, opened my mouth, and there she was. I looked at myself in the mirror. At first, I thought I was hallucinating. A girl dripping of wet slime about the size of a hamster was poking her head up from my throat. She was just casually hanging out there. She was glittery, sparkly green like glowing jello, and her hair dripped off her shoulders. She had big shiny eyes and the goofiest grin I'd ever seen. "Hi," she squeaked. Her voice sounded like someone popping bubble wrap in my brain. "Took you long enough to notice me." I stumbled back from the mirror and screamed. Apparently that made her laugh at me. She wiggled further up my throat so her arms were resting on my tongue. "Don't freak out," she said. "You swallowed me fair and square, and now I live here. Also, awesome digestive layout, by the way. Top-notch intestinal real estate." I stared, still half dazed. What are you?" She had this big ol' goofy grin. "I'm Glimmy. I'm a gut slime. Think of me like a magical symbiote slash roommate slash funhouse tour guide. You're the host and I'm the ooze." Then she winked and slid back down my throat like she was diving into a water slide. And just like that, my life got about 200% weirder. The next morning, I woke up thinking maybe I dreamed the whole thing. But then I felt this gentle squish around my small intestine. I poked my belly with my index finger and it jiggled back. Glimmy whispered, "Good morning, squishy head." She loved exploring. She treated my intestines like a big twisty jungle gym. She sloshed through my stomach all the time. She swam in the gastric juice and made little farting bubble hearts that floated up to my esophagus. She was everywhere in there. And she never shut up. Sometimes I would actually get annoyed at her. "Did you know your pancreas hums when you're nervous?" she said once. "Also, your gallbladder is adorable. It squeaks." She named all my organs. Named them weird pet names. She called my small intestine Slinky and my large intestine Sir Swerveslot. She said my stomach was Wubtub because of the funny squishy noises it made. Her absolute favorite thing was peeking out of places like my mouth or my butthole. Sometimes she'd climb up and pop out of the back of my throat. I'd yawn in class, and suddenly feel her little head poking up, whispering, "It's a miracle I never screamed in algebra." Other times, she'd peek out my poop hole, which was both horrifying and kind of hilarious. Once, I went to the bathroom and she peeked out and whispered, "Nice day for a squirt, eh?" She thought she was so funny. And honestly, she was. She became my slimy little best friend. Whenever I was bored, she'd jiggle through my belly and play percussion on my ribs from the inside. If I was sad, she'd curl around my stomach and hum softly. When I felt lonely, she filled me with fizzy bubbles and whispered, "You're never alone. I'm always here. Forever. Deep inside your squishy guts." Which, okay, sounds gross when you say it out loud. But when Glimmy said it, it kind of made me smile. Life with Glimmy was like living in a cartoon that took place inside my own guts. Every day was something new. A game, a discovery, a jelly-powered joyride through the strange, twisty tunnels of my body. I'd be walking to school, and she'd be zooming through my intestines like a tiny goo rocket, sending up little bubbly cheers I could feel from the inside. I'd laugh for no reason and get side-eyed by strangers. But it was worth it. Little did I know, things were about to get even stranger. We were just finishing one of Glimmy's favorite games, parasite. She made me eat 3 bananas so my insides would get all wet and poopy, so she could ride the waves through my small intestine like a slimy roller coaster. When she suddenly paused halfway through a loop, I felt a squish, and then a second squish that was different from the first squish. It wasn't bubbly and energetic like Glimmy. It was smaller. "Hey," I said, pressing my palm gently to my stomach. "You okay down there?" I didn't get a response back from her. Then Glimmy's voice surfaced from way deep in my gut, quieter than usual. "Hold up," she said. "There's something, or I mean someone, down here." The whole lower part of my belly shivered. She didn't come back for a while. When she finally did return, her tone wasn't silly or teasing. It was curious. "You're never gonna believe this," she said, popping halfway up my throat. "We've got company." My eyebrows shot up. Company? Like bacteria? Nope. Another me. Another slime girl. I blinked hard. "Wait, there's 2 of you now." She nodded, excitedly bobbing like a bobblehead made of goo. Well, not exactly Mimi. She's teeny tiny and kind of hiding there. She's curled up in the sigmoid colon. She doesn't talk much either, but she wiggles when I get close. I sat down, slowly. Did I eat her too? "I don't think so," Glimmy said, tapping the inside of my cheek with a little slime finger. "She's not glowing like I do. She's kind of pale blue and super squishy. I think she's been here a while hiding out." I blinked again. "How do you know she's a slime girl?" "Because she has eyes, silly." Glimmy grinned. Big watery ones. And when I said hi, she blushed. I swear. She turned light purple for like half a second. That night, I could feel them both. Glimmy was bouncing around as usual, but softer, like she didn't want to scare the newcomer. And the second girl was a shy, fluttery tremble. The next morning, Glimmy introduced her. Not by pushing her up through my throat, thankfully, but by guiding her gently into the small intestine, where she could get to know the place. Her name was something like But, before she trailed off and got too embarrassed to finish. So Glimmy gave her a nickname. "Bubble," she said proudly, "because she makes these teeny little bloop sounds whenever she moves. Like she's fizzing. And also, she's adorable." Bubble didn't show herself in my throat like Glimmy did. She was too shy. But I felt her moving slowly against the walls of my guts. She liked to wrap gently around my appendix, for warmth, I think, and curl up in my large intestine, where it was dark and quiet. She didn't talk much, but she hummed a lot. It really did sound like bubbles from super fizzy soda. At first, she flinched whenever Glimmy got too close. She was delicate, so Glimmy backed off for a while, but I could tell she wasn't gonna let Bubble stay in hiding forever. "No way I'm letting a sweet little slime like that sulk around in the colon like that," Glimmy said, arms folded. Well, folded. Slime arms don't really have elbows. She's got potential. She just needs someone to show her how to have fun. So Glimmy started teaching her. She built a slime seesaw in the stomach lining. She carved out a playground in my small intestine using bubbles and mucus. She invented a new game called Bounce the Bolus, where they'd ride bits of half-digested food down like inflatable rafts. Bubble resisted at first. She'd freeze up when Glimmy got too wild or loud. But Glimmy slowed down, softened her sparkle, and encouraged Bubble gently, letting her wobble out of her comfort zone one squish at a time. And then one day, Bubble laughed. Just a little blue that hiccuped through my belly happily. But it was the cutest thing I'd ever felt. Even Glimmy gasped. "She laughed," she shrieked, spinning in place. "She's alive." From then on, everything changed. They played together and explored together. Glimmy became Bubble's unofficial guide to all things body-related inside of me. Bubble showed Glimmy her secret hiding places, like a mucus cave behind the spleen and a little bubble nest she'd made under the transverse colon. Glimmy showed her how to slide along bile tubes like roller coasters. I watched and felt it all from the outside. I felt every splash, every gloop, and every giggle. And then I realized I was watching two hearts grow inside of me. Two tiny, gelatinous hearts. And if I'm being honest, I think I was falling in love too. I thought I'd gotten used to having two slime girls inside my body. The three of us had this weird, warm thing going. Like a sleepover that never ended, except it was happening inside my organs. Sometimes I'd lie on the couch with a belly full of laughter and let them swirl around inside. Glimmy would press her face up behind my belly button and make goofy expressions. Bubble liked to glide just beneath my skin. They'd play tag in my intestines, wrap me up in inside jokes, and every now and then, they'd both whisper little things that made my crotch feel squeezed and tighter than it should have. "I like being inside you," Glimmy said, resting in my stomach lining. "You're so cozy." Bubble shyly admitted from somewhere near my lower intestine, "I feel so good in here too. I like when I am nice and wet and my slime just gets all over the place." So yeah, I was happy. Or at least I thought I was. Until one night, my stomach made a sound I'd never heard before. It wasn't Glimmy's usual bubbly squeals, or Bubble's humming. This was something like metal scraping against my bone. I doubled over in bed. "Glimmy?" I groaned. "Bubble? What was that?" They didn't answer right away. I could feel them moving super fast inside me though. Glimmy zipped from my colon to my stomach in a blink. Bubble was right behind her, all nervous and shivering. Then Glimmy surfaced in my throat, her face serious for the first time in ever. "We've got a problem. There's something else in here with us," she said. "Something not invited." My insides jolted. "I think," Glimmy said slowly, "you've got a parasite." My brain exploded in panic. "What? Like a worm? Are you serious?" Glimmy shook her head. "No, worse. Not a worm. It's a shade slime." She explained it fast. Shade slimes were like anti-slimes. They were born from leftover fear, stress, sickness. Sometimes, when someone swallowed too much bad energy or anxiety, the ickiness stuck together and grew a little mind of its own. "This one is old," she said, "and mean. It's been hiding. But it smelled me and Bubble and now it's hunting us." And then we heard it speak. A voice hissed up from the bottom of my belly. "You're full of sweetness and noise. I will turn it all to rot." I screamed. Glimmy vanished from my throat instantly. It actually made me choke, she disappeared so fast. Inside, I felt a swirl of gooey action as she clashed with the thing. It felt like bursts of heat and pressure slamming into each other. My belly thumped with every impact. "Stay with Bubble," she shouted. "Protect her." But Bubble was already shaking. I felt her curling tighter and tighter around my sigmoid colon with fear. She froze before gathering the courage she needed. "Get him," Glimmy screamed at the thing. And then Bubble gathered all her composure and hit it. A sound burst through me like a thunderclap. The shade slime shrieked, high and shrill, as Bubble slammed into it with everything she had. She didn't stop. She wrapped around it. Glimmy surged in a second later. "Now, Bubble, do the squeeze." And so Bubble squeezed with all her might. And together, they compressed the shade slime into a tight, twitching lump of fear. "Time to flush," Glimmy cried. And in one spectacular moment, the two of them shoved the intruder down my digestive tract and out through my butthole. I sprinted to the bathroom, barely landing on the toilet in time for this disgusting slime to pour out of my rectum. My butt hurt so bad pushing all of it out. But it was the most satisfying feeling my butthole has ever witnessed. I'd say it was the most heroic poop of my life. Afterward, I sat on the floor, sweaty and shaking, with my pants still down by my ankles. My butthole was throbbing from all that poopy action. Glimmy surfaced, breathing hard but grinning. "We did it," she said, half laughing. "Your body is safe again. Thanks to Bubble." Bubble didn't show herself right away, but I felt her behind my ribs. And I whispered, "I'm proud of you too." Inside me, she blooped quietly. After the parasite incident, I expected things to slow down and to go back to the usual playful chaos. But they didn't. Something had changed. Glimmy, the excitable, always bouncing ball of green sparkle, still zipped around in my guts. But now, her silliness had an edge of tenderness. She lingered longer when she pressed her gooey, sultry body against the roof of my mouth. She would peek out through my throat and whispered ridiculous compliments while I brushed my teeth. She would slide into my intestines and compliment the strength of my butt muscles when she would watch the intense clenching my butt cheeks would make when I needed to take a dump. Sometimes in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep, she would peek out of my butthole while I was doing my thing and compliment me on my size. She really knew how to make me feel good. Bubble was becoming more and more romantic. She was trying to memorize the shape of every beat of my heart. She had always been soft, but now her presence felt like an extra pulse within me. She made me feel all mushy inside. I felt like I was becoming a better person with her inside of me. I was learning how to hold them both, inside and out. That evening, something unspoken bloomed. It started in the lower intestine. Glimmy had invited Bubble for what she called an official cuddle summit. They met in the curves of my sigmoid colon, where the folds made a soft, squishy nook like a beanbag. Glimmy had decorated again. Tiny light orbs glowing from my inner tissues were flickering ever so slightly. There were leftover sugar crystals twinkling in the mucus. I laid on my bed with a tissue box nearby. Eyes closed, legs wide, blanket pulled over my chest, listening to their quiet conversation deep inside me. I could feel them and see them in my mind as I fantasized away. Bubble floated shyly in the corner. "Are you sure this is okay?" she asked. Glimmy giggled and swirled around her. "Bubble, you saved his life. You've got every right to snuggle him forever." Bubble rippled gently. I feel so big in here now. So full." "Full of what?" I asked aloud, my voice barely a whisper. And then I felt her answer physically, in the way she pressed softly against the inside of my chest, just beneath my heart. "Love," she whispered. There was silence for a moment. Then Glimmy floated up toward my throat again, her green glow pulsing brighter than usual. "You know," she said in a playfully serious tone, "we're not just part of your body. We're part of you. And you're part of us." I didn't know that's what love felt like, but I think that's what this is. My heart stuttered. I swallowed. I didn't know what to say because my whole soul was melting from the inside. My climax was beautiful and overwhelming. "Come here," I murmured after a deep, long, satisfying breath out. The two of them slid up toward my throat. My mouth opened slightly, and they both emerged, not fully, just their upper halves. They perched there, one on each side of my tongue. Glimmy glowed bright emerald, hair fizzing like soda pop. Bubble shimmered pale violet, her form delicate and sensual. Her eyes were half closed still from the ecstasy she had just felt from me. "Can we?" Bubble asked softly, blushing lavender. "Can we kiss you?" I nodded. Glimmy was first. Her kiss was hot and electric. Her sexy lips danced across mine and made me gasp. She tasted like lime and candy and starlight. Her form pulsed as she pressed into me as she giggled. She was too excited to contain the joy in her thin gel-like frame. She whispered, her forehead resting against mine. "You taste so good." Then Bubble leaned in. Her kiss was slower and much more sensual. Her body was oozing of wet slime and affection that poured over my lips like honey. Her touch trembled a little, but I met it, matched it, and let it deepen. And when she pulled away, she hovered just inches from me, her eyes staring deeply into mine just an inch away, whispering, "I've never felt this full of love. You hold me together." Tears welled up in my eyes. I didn't know you could cry from feeling too loved. I wrapped my arms around myself, hugging them from the outside, and they responded instantly. Their bodies stretched and flowed, embracing my mouth and my throat, pressing gently along my chest and down to my crotch from within. We stayed like that for what felt like forever, wrapped in ourselves, breathing slowly but in sync with each other. They were glowing hot. I could feel the heat from within me. We didn't say another word, just felt each other's bodies and pulses back and forth. The warm pressure consumed me. There was an occasional giggle and the occasional happy sigh. As we held each other, boy and two slime girls, tangled in love from the inside out, I whispered the truth we discovered together. Sometimes the best kind of love comes from the inside.